You ever notice how an app can look just right on your iPhone, but then when you open it on an iPad, it magically rearranges itself? Well, that's not magic. It's actually really smart design. And today, we're going to break down how you can build one UI that adapts perfectly to every single screen. So, here's a situation every developer knows all too well. You've spent weeks, maybe months, perfecting your iPhone app. It looks great. But now it's time for the iPad version. So, what do? Do you really have to build and maintain two totally separate user interfaces? I mean, that's double the work, double the potential for bugs, and honestly, double the headaches. But what if there was a better way, a smarter way? What if you could just create one single flexible UI that just adapts? Imagine it. One code base for all your devices. This isn't just some developer fantasy. It's actually the core philosophy of modern iOS development. And this whole philosophy, it has a name. It's called adaptive presentation. And it's not just a feature. It's really a whole mindset. The idea is simple. Write once, adapt everywhere. It's all about letting the system itself do the heavy lifting for you. So what is it exactly? Well, adaptive presentation is basically a system that lets your app's user interface automatically tweak its layout based on its environment. And by environment, we mean things like what device it's on, an iPhone, an iPad, even a Mac, and of course, the screen size. So a simple list on an iPhone might just become a beautiful grid on an iPad, all on its own. And here's the real key. The goal is to write your code once and have it behave correctly everywhere. This means you can finally move away from those endless, if this is an iPhone, do this, but if it's an iPad, do that kind of checks. You're building a fluid system, not a rigid set of rules. Okay, this all sounds pretty great in theory, but how does the system actually pull it off? How does it know what to do? Let's peek under the hood and see what's going on behind this so-called magic. The entire system, the whole shebang, is built on this one fundamental concept called trait collections. This is the cornerstone. It's how your app understands where it is and what it should look like. So a UI trait collection is, in essence, a bundle of information that describes your UI's current environment. The best way to think about it is like an ID badge that every single view in your app wears. And this little badge tells iOS everything it needs to know about its context. So what's actually on this ID badge? Well, two of the most important traits are the horizontal size class and the user interface idiom. The size class tells iOS if there's compact horizontal space, like on an iPhone you're holding vertically, or if there's regular space, like on an iPad. And the idiom is even simpler. It just says, hey, I'm a phone, or I'm a tablet, or maybe even a Mac. So when you tell your app to show a new screen, the whole process is incredibly simple. First, iOS just takes a quick glance at that view's ID badge, its trait collection. And then, based on that information, it automatically picks the most appropriate presentation style. That's it. See how easy that is? No extra work needed from you.
All right, enough with the theory. Let's look at a real-world example, because this is where you can really see the power of an adaptive UI.
Okay, check this out. On the left, we've got an iPhone. It has a compact width, right? So when you tap an item, the details screen slides in and takes over the whole screen. That's perfect for a small device. But on the right, the iPad has a regular width, and that same exact code doesn't show a full screen view. No, instead it presents that details screen side by side in a split view, making use of all that extra real estate.
And that right there, that's the whole point. It's the same feature, running on the very same code base, but iOS intelligently chooses a completely different way to present it, all because it understood the context from those trait collections. And this is the real payoff. So why does all this really matter? I mean, what's the tangible benefit for you, the person actually building the app? Let's talk about that payoff. It really just boils down to this one simple, powerful number, 1. You have just one code base to build, to test, and to maintain. This absolutely slashes complexity, it saves an incredible amount of time, and it just leads to more stable, more consistent apps across the board. So to wrap it all up, the final takeaway is this. When you embrace an adaptive UI, you're letting the operating system do what it does best. It chooses the right interface for you, automatically. It always respects the device's size and its context. And best of all, it drastically reduces all that messy, duplicated, device-specific code you used to have to write. This whole approach really future-proofs your app. Today, your UI adapts between an iPhone and an iPad, but the system itself is incredibly flexible, which leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. As our devices continue to evolve, what could our UIs adapt to next?